Welcome to our weekly team call. As a reminder, it is now on Tuesdays, same time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we are keeping this call short at 30 minutes and diving right into the Superstar Belief series at 5:30. So make sure you guys hop on time if you want to be on live for these, and that you can catch the recording. But I was telling Amber I started a new book, and it is called why am I on the wrong slide? It is called Atomic Habits, and I just had like a huge wake up like moment when I started this, and so I wanted our call to be on our habits, because I think what I learned was that we are so big about setting goals. Like, we have our goal setting call every month, and that's not that it's a bad thing, but I think we focus too much on setting outcome based habits versus like identity based habits. And I think that can be where a huge shift is made, and where we start becoming the person that we want to become in our business, and creating long-term changes, and not just like short-term changes to hit our monthly goals, but helping us create that long-term vision and reach those long-term goals, and that becoming that person that we want to become, because that's something that we're always working towards. But that all starts with where your current habits are. And this is like a check for me, because I highly recommend this book, because he talks you through like becoming aware and how your habits work. And it's basically based off of like reward systems and how you respond to things in stress and anxiety. And it's just like becoming aware so you can change. So you get what you repeat, and what are your current habits, how we can become aware, pivot, and create more productive habits for our life and your business. So this is something I just want you to think about now, and what I started today, and that I would challenge you guys to do, because this will also help you become more productive with your time and with how you work your business. Is tomorrow, I want you to do a habit, or create a habit tracker. So start when you first wake up, and like write down in the notes section of your phone, like how your day progresses. So wake up, use the restroom, brush my teeth, wash my face, make coffee, or, eat a bagel. Okay. Become aware of like, whatever habit it is and how it goes into your day, like just throughout the day. And it'll take like a day or two, because again, there were certain things today that I forgot to like put down. So again, I'm going to go back tomorrow, add them in. But keep a, list on your phone. And then at the end of the day or two that it takes you to do this, I want you to go through those habits and mark them as either positive, negative, or neutral. So positive meaning like it's putting you towards where you want to be. Negative meaning it's hindering where you want to be, like it doesn't align with who you want to become. And then neutral is it does nothing, but it's not necessarily bad either. And this, again, this isn't like making you change anything. It's just about becoming more aware of what your current habits are, because a lot of the time our habits we don't even think of. It's like our subconscious actually doing that. And so this is where we can create change. So you don't rise to the level of your goals, but you fall to the level of your habits. And I thought this was really huge, because it's so true. We talk about our goals, but like, it's not so much about our goals, but it's about the habits that we have in place to get us there, and the systems that we create, more than the actual goals. Okay. So here is what I think is like the biggest part of this. It's identity-based habits versus like outcome-based habits. So I think in this business, I'm totally guilty of it too. We focus a lot on what are considered outcome-based habits. And those are short-term habits focused on what we want to accomplish, like Success Club or Diamonds, It is, getting your Shakeology paid for. It's like doing those things. Those are outcome. We do things, our habits in our business are based around our outcome. But identity-based habits are long-term. These are like habits like working out every day, and focus on who we want to become. And a lot of that has to do with like the language. So I want you to think about currently, what are some examples that you have of identity-based habits or outcome-based habits in your life? So outcome-based habits is also like doing a program for 30 days and then stopping because, you got the outcome that you wanted, but then you stopped because you got the results. So it's like long-term versus short-term. And that turns into like and the question that I want you to like think about is, who do you want to become as a coach? And this is also who you want to become as a person. It doesn't have to be just as a coach. Like, you can think about this in like a bigger sense than this, but I want you to think about it in your business too. And I want you to stretch the way you're thinking. Again, not just like, I want to be a diamond coach. And so I didn't even put diamond on there because I think that's just like the baseline. But like, do you want to be a 2-star diamond coach, an elite or premier coach, a top 10 coach, a coach who speaks on the national wake up call, like a superstar diamond coach? Like, who do you want to be? And I really want you to think about that person and what that person looks like. Do you want to be somebody who does summit trainings and gets asked to speak at things like leadership? And then, like I said, like the national wake up calls are on the Beachbody Champions page. And then what are the daily habits of the kind of coach you want to be? What does that person look like? How do they spend their mornings? What kind of work hours do they set? How do they show up every day? Because that is like the habits that you get into. And I think that through our habits and what this talked about in the book so far, is that you're building belief in yourself through your daily habits, whether you think about it or not. Like, and I know sometimes I struggle with those limiting beliefs. We talk about beliefs all the time and our self-belief and who we think we are. And a lot of that goes back to language, but the way that we build belief is by our daily habits and our action. So I think getting very, very clear and like taking time to write down and really think about every day who you want to become as a coach, what that person looks like, what that person is doing, how they're showing up, and like really getting in the routine of that person as much as you can, like how it works for you, obviously, and showing up as that person. And then the best way to change who you are is by changing what you do daily. So how to become the person that you want to be, decide who you want to be, and then prove it to yourself with daily wins through your action. You need to know who you want to be. Otherwise, your quest for change will get you nowhere. Your habits aren't about having something, but becoming someone. And I think this is, again, where we get stuck. And it's, I think, also where our challengers get stuck, like talking about people doing, 21 days and done or 30 days and done. And it's that short-term thing. It's why people yo-yo. Like, and it's why I've yo-yoed in the past, because it's results driven, not like identity driven. Like, if you're racing for that result, instead of saying, I am an athlete, if you're saying you're an athlete, you're going to train like an athlete. That's how you're going to show up, and the results will come with that. But they're not like short-term based on, like 21 days and like searching for that 6-pack and done, or like losing that weight and done. And I think that's a big reason why people yo-yo and go back and forth, and even with like success in this business, because they're like, okay, the habit is I need to hit Success Club 5 every month. And I need to do these invites. And then once people reach that, they stop instead of like showing up every single day, and then they restart on the first day of the next month. Like, it's not like a daily, it's not an identity thing. It's not who you are. Like a top coach, shows up every day doing those things, whether they're hitting Success Club that day or not, rather than a coach who shows up just, because they're trying to hit that goal. So habits matter not because of the results, but because they change our beliefs about yourself. Your identity emerges out of your actions. To become the best version of yourself, you have to constantly edit your beliefs and expand your identity. And a lot of this is looking at where your current habits are And then again, feeling like where you can edit them, where you can become aware and like edit your current beliefs about yourself. So saying like, I don't know enough people to become a top coach, or, I don't talk to enough people. I don't like, it's the ego speaking, and like, or, I can't work hard enough to do that. I don't know enough about social media. And it's like changing again the verbiage and those beliefs, and then how you build that belief in yourself. And that commitment is by showing up every day, and you're giving yourself those little wins. So like marking off your business activity tracker, doing that post, doing that call to action, and like showing up like that person every day. And I flew through those slides. But I just figured we could also like take some time to talk about that, especially like this portion of like who you want to become as a coach, and like what that person looks like. If anybody wants to talk or share, I'll stop my screen share. We can chat.
Thank you, Kate. I took some notes. Finally, it was distracting me, but I was listening, I promise. So I'm excited to like track tomorrow, because like I think there's also the idea of what we think we do versus like what we actually do in a day. And so I'm gonna track tomorrow, like you said, and do the like market positive, negative, or neutral. But I'm trying to think about, I know what my identity-based habits are, like that are ingrained in me now, like working out and like eating healthy, like those are an identity now. And I know that those are a big reason why I've had consistent success, but I'm having a hard time looking at I'm trying to think of like what my personal outcome-based habits could be, or like what are some more examples of those ones, you know what I mean? Cause like, I know I want to hit Success Club every month. But that's not my identity. The other things I do are my identity, which help me hit Success Club. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would feel like it could almost be like the habit of whether you're inviting every day or not, because again, a top coach like shows up every day, invites every day. How it would be more of like an outcome based thing would be like, oh, I'm doing it to get to Success Club, and like then you're done, like that short term, if that makes sense. But that was also like a struggle, because again, we've been doing it for so long. But like an outcome based habit, I think is just, or yeah, I'm gonna see if I took more notes about that specific thing in my phone, because again, I literally just started this yesterday on Audible, and I listened to the whole book within like 2 days, which is like not something I do ever.
That's awesome. I definitely want to read this book. I'm sure as I track too, or like think about tomorrow and I write down all that my habits or like things I did, it'll probably become more clear, like what maybe is identity, or like, or what I'm doing just for like that immediate outcome.
I'm trying to talk, but like every time I go to talk, Cody's like screaming bloody murder in the background, like being an absolute crazy person. So I would really like to have a loyal team with, like a tighter community of my own. And I know the habit that I have to do is more connection. And like, I always put that off. I just do cold invites all the time, and I don't have a problem with that. And I know what I need to do, and I need to like build more connection with people. So that's my input on what I took from this.
No, but I like that. And that's what it is. It is like, building those relationships and creating that lasting thing. And that like turns into a community. And so I think that's a really strong takeaway from that.
Yeah, I love that. It actually just made me realize, so I experimented with hiring a virtual assistant so it was all of August and all of September, and I'm going to like stop using her because it's very expensive, and ironically, everything's gone down. I was like, oh no, it makes so much more money now. My point is, I haven't been doing my own connections. Like I was like, oh, I do my own connections, but part of their service was to like connect people and follow people to help increase my following. And lately when I go into Instagram, I hate it because those aren't my people that I just really like, it just clicked. Like those aren't people that I wanted to follow. Those are somebody else. So I mean, I know that that works for some people to like hire people to help them with engagement, but that's not what I need help with. And I know now that that's been a huge issue. So that was like an identity, no, that was like an outcome goal. Like, oh, I'm gonna like be so like efficient with my time, and I'm gonna hire this person, and I'm gonna give them guidelines of like the type of person I want. But nobody knows the type of person that you really connect with except for you. And that's why I think this business is so based on being genuine. So moving forward, it's going to be an identity based habit to just do my own freaking connecting.
Yeah, because if you think about it that way, like that's the outcome is them growing your following, them getting people to you. The identity is that community. Like that's where that shift is. And I think again, it's like working through this and talking through it because again, I'm still learning because again, this book just started, but I think it's just becoming aware. I don't know why I snapped.
Trying to think of more things. I think that everybody can agree that like any successful person in the entire world spends a lot of time on their like personal growth, personal development in some way. And so that's one of the 4 vitals, and it's always on the list. But I'm like, that's really, I think, needs to become an identity-based habit for all of us for longevity and just to not burn out and to grow as human beings and all that. So that's something I'm starting the 75 hard, and I'm excited to actually read a book again, because I do listen to stuff, but I struggle with reading, but I think it'll be good for me to be like reading every day, and that's like part of my daily. So that's something that I know needs to be an identity, like working on more personal development. So I'm just going to implement that more. Jacqueline, you have to start doing PD.
Seriously.
I know. It's like every time I like listen to anybody talk, they're talking about like any successful person. They're like, oh, my personal development I listened to this morning. And like Amy was talking about like the PD that she does, how like she like has to sit down and do this while she's like doing just nothing, or like sits in the tub and listens to PD. And I'm like, I just can never get into it. Like, I just can't. I think it's so freaking boring. Like, I just cannot sit down and read, but I know that like I have to do it. I just have to find something that like I guess I enjoy, because I've picked up so many different books. I've started so many different like audio books, and like I just get so bored of it after a little bit, and like I can't like my attention doesn't stay. But
He's not.
I'll find one.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, I go back and forth between like Audible and then also like reading books. And it is a lot harder, especially as a mom, to like sit down and read, and then to do it when like you have time and like attention, because my mind goes like, oh, I should be doing other stuff. And doing 75 hard is like forcing me to do it, especially. And a lot of the times at night, it's like when I'm tired, I'm like, I don't want to do this, but I'm doing it. But like I notice now with Audible, I listen to so much more because I can do that. But for me also, I have to be able to listen to the person, and they can't have like a monotone voice that makes me want to like jump off the bridge or like shut off the book. So I always listen to a sample. I'm like, can I get into this? But then certain things get me super fired up, and like this book, and I was like, okay, this is what I needed to hear. Because I realized like how many habits, or even with the habit with my tracker, how many times I just checked my phone. And it was also, I noticed it was like an anxiety thing or a thing to make me feel better. It was like, oh, go to Instagram, see like my photos, or comment on my things, or go to, whatever. It was like it was a soothing reaction, or like a habit that I wasn't even aware I was checking my phone as much as I was doing that. How many times I have that in my thing? It's like negative. It was upsetting. Anyways, just so you know.
Do you have the thing set on your phone to like tell you how long you've been on Instagram, like the timer?
No, I need
Amy
to
was
do that.
talking about that, and you can do it on settings, and I have it set for 3 hours, which is a lot, but like, I mean, I work from home on my phone. And today I hit it at like 11 a.m. I was like, okay, this is an issue.
I have mine set to 3 hours
Both of
too.
these are yours.
Yeah, I need to be more efficient with these 3 hours though, because I'm doing a lot of scrolling, refreshing.
I have my 3 hours set for all social media apps though. like not just Instagram, I clicked every single social media app is 3 hours. So I have to like time crunch when I'm on any social media app, because I'm like, I can't spend 3 hours on the interwebs anymore. So if I'm like doing something, I'm doing it with a purpose at this point. I'm like, all right, I've only got 3 hours to talk to myself on my stories. I've only got 3 hours to include my invites on that. So I like bang, 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 do it all.
Mm-hmm. But that's good. I think I need to do that, because it wasn't even necessarily that, like, wasn't wasting a ton of time. It was like a short thing. It was like a refreshing, and I was like, oh, this is a scary habit that I didn't know that I was doing that often. It's like mind numbing. Does anybody else want to share or have any thoughts?
With the timing, I heard Amy talk about putting a timer for Instagram, and so I mean, you guys do it. Do you guys do you time anything else you do, like when you're making content on Canva or like sending out emails, or do you just kind of leave that as is?
I don't time stuff, but I probably should. I think that it's a smart, like when I used to work, honey, hold on. When I used to work full time, I only had like a limited amount of time. So I was like really doing a power hour, or like 2 30-minutes, or like a couple 15s, breaking them up. But I feel like now that I do it full time, I end up spending way longer on a task that could have taken me not that long. So I think setting timers, I had a friend that had a timer, like a little thing that would just go off. And so he would set like 10-minute increments. And that's kind of how we do our power hours, when we do them like in an hour. So we'll just set a timer, go. So I think timers are a great idea.
I don't time like anything that I'm doing specifically, but I do have like not lately because I've been like all over the place, but I did have like a set time when I was going to do things, like from like 8 to 9 in the morning. I would do like all my invites, follow-ups, and like emails and stuff. So I would take like a solid hour, but I didn't like specifically time anything. I just knew like that was my time to do this. I just got it out of the way in the morning.
If I remember, like, and the original Success Club trackers too, or the bat tracker used to be like 10 minutes, this. And so sometimes what I'll do is, if I do have like a certain time crunch, I'm like, okay, I have 10 minutes to bust out my invites, 10 minutes to do, or 20 minutes to do follow-ups if I am working in a power hour, because it just keeps me on track. And I'm like, I don't have time to dick around and do other things. So that has helped me when I'm not always diligent about it when I'm working in power pockets, but I could be more diligent. It would probably, it would help me be more productive, I think. Anyone else want to share? We have like a couple minutes or a minute left. But anyways, this whole book is really about like not getting so much caught up in those short-term goals, but getting into the habits of getting into habits to become the person that you want to be. So I really want you to think about that. If you haven't lately, like think about who you want to be, think about the kind of coach you want to be, and then think about those habits that you need to get into daily. And then again, if you don't have that belief in yourself to be that person, the only way you're going to build it is by showing up with those habits and giving yourself those small daily wins of like doing those things, doing those, habits. And that will build your belief in yourself to get you there. And also the results will come with that too. And those like outcomes will come, but they won't be the main focus of like what you're doing. And it'll keep you pushing longer because again, you're focusing on who you want to become and not just those short-term things. So hopefully it'll keep you pushing and achieving more. And again, just being more aware of our habits, because I think that's something we all need to do in every area of your life. Like I want to have more time to be more present with my son. And so like, I think by doing this, I can create that time to like be more present. So I'm not like always on my phone or always doing other things. So that was a help with that too.
Yeah, my goal is to like knock out my PD, my work, like a lot of my stuff very early. Just get up early, knock a lot of it out. And then the ultimate goal is to be like off of work, you know, unless it's a team call, like off from work at like 2 or 3 p.m. When kids ever go back to school here, that was kind of the idea, like be totally done. So then I can just be totally present with kids, like for after school activities, sports, you know, when real life starts up again.
No, I love that. And like, I'm really bad about having like a quit time. Like, you know, I'm like, oh, I have to work. But it's also like full-time mom, like when you're with your kids all the time, like it's hard to do that. But I really like setting that goal. And so that's something, again, it's like a habit I want to create, being like, no, this is my quit time. This is like, I got all my things done. And again, it's just like making it a habit of doing those things. And one thing that he said in this book is like, oftentimes people think habits like keep you away from freedom, but honestly, like habits create freedom because you're in control of your time. And so you're using it more wisely and you have more time for that other freedom and to like be present with your family and do those other things. So I think it can benefit like all areas. But yeah, so we should hop off and hop on the next call. But thank you guys for hopping on. And again, we will see you next Tuesday at the same time. So bye guys.